guys, how's everybody doing? Hopefully you found us here. I understand we had a little bit of a glitch here first starting out here, that maybe what you're seeing on your screen says we're making taquitos. That was last time. Today we're making the crunchy onion rings. Hopefully you found us. There's two live events possibly going on there. Hopefully you clicked on the right one. If not, you can watch it at the rebroadcast. But anyway, if you are here, welcome so much. Glad to see you're here. My name is Tom. We're doing the YouTube live here as we do every week. And pretty excited today because we're going to be doing something that I love, that I'm sure everyone loves. Maybe not the best thing to eat on a regular basis, but nonetheless, it's tasty, it's so good, and we're making it here for you live. If you are watching, if you just want to sit back and enjoy the entertainment part of this and the comedy, if there is any, that's cool. If you want to participate with any questions, please pop them up on the screen. I can see you here now if you are watching the show. Also, at the very least, please let us know where you're watching from, what state. I'm actually broadcasting here live from Southern California, where it's a balmy 62 degrees at 11 o'clock in the morning. So thank you so much. Let us know where you're from. Always appreciated. So anyway, like I said, today we're going to be making some onion rings. If you've never made those before, because they are easy to buy if you go to the grocery store. You can buy pre-made onion rings, pop them in the oven. But like I said, homemade, always better as far as I'm concerned. And that's what we're going to do today, making onion rings from scratch. All right, and you don't really need a lot, quite honestly. One thing we're going to need is an onion, and then we're going to need some flour, some baking powder, a little bit of salt, an egg, a deep fryer if you have one. If you don't have a deep fryer, go ahead and use something like maybe like a Dutch oven, something that's cast iron, where you can put some oil in that will hold the heat. At the very least, just some sort of a pot, a cooking pot you can put some oil in, okay? But that is very important, and we need to keep that temperature up to where it's supposed to be, right around 375 degrees. All right, so I'm going to kind of go through this. If you have any questions along the way, please just chime in. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And let's get started with what we're going to do. What we have here, first of all, is our onion. Okay, very important. This is the main ingredient in crunchy onion rings, is an onion, if you didn't already know that. And when it comes to slicing an onion, you can do the really thin ones, or you can do the thick ones, or somewhere in between. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to lop off just a couple. I'm going to go maybe about a ½ inch wide for the onion ring. And you're probably not going to use all of these, because as you get to the center of the onion, as we all know, the onion seems to, the ring seems to get smaller, but that's entirely up to you. You know, what you want to do. Okay, so once you have the onion like that, we're going to separate it into some rings, and we're going to put it in just some cold water here, just to let them kind of chill a little bit. And like I said, the small parts like these here, you don't really going to use. So let's go ahead and pop these out here. And they usually come apart pretty easily. When you go to the store to buy an onion, choose accordingly. Don't buy a little tiny one. Get something in the middle like I did here. So we're not going to do all 2 onions. We're not going to do 2 onions. We're going to do, I'm just going to do a couple slices here. You guys get the idea, all right? Because that's very important. All right, so that's good. That's going to be enough to get us started right there. So that was just a couple slices. I'm saving the smaller parts here, as you can see. We'll use those for something else. All right, so I'm going to put those off to the side. So still got the onion left here. So we're going to let these chill here for a couple minutes. Kind of let them sit in the cold water. Put them off to the side. And then we're going to make our batter. All right, very important, the batter. What I have here, you got some dry ingredients here, and it's pretty simple. We have some flour, we have some baking powder, and we also have some salt, and that's it. I'm going to mix those all together just like that. The only other thing you're going to need is a little bit of 3/4 of a cup of some lukewarm water, a 1/4 cup of beer, and then an egg yolk, all right? But don't throw the whole egg away, because we're going to be using the whole egg. We're going to be using the white for this part of the entertainment right here. As you guys have probably know, as you watched our show before, we have a special guest that makes an appearance sometime. His name is Scotty. Snotty Scotty is what we call him. And it's my egg separator, which I use quite often. They are available on the link below if you want to go ahead and get one of these. They are quite the conversation piece. And basically what this does, it separates the white from the yolk, okay, which a lot of times recipes do call for. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, going to put the egg, we're going to crack it right in here very carefully, making, oh, see, now that's the one thing you don't want to do. I just, you can't see in here, but the yolk actually just separated, the yolk and the egg kind of combined together, so that's not going to work. It really helps if your egg is relatively cold. So I'm over here right now in my fridge getting a cold egg. That egg was sitting out at room temperature and it kind of just made a mess. So I got a cold egg here. We're going to try this again. I'm going to put that right in there like that. Open it up. Okay, that seemed to work good. Okay, so you really can't see what's in there, but you just want to make sure that your whole egg goes right into Scotty. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the egg yolk, the egg white into the mixer here. And you can see this is why we call him Snotty Scotty. All right, it's kind of a cool conversation piece. All right, make sure you get all the yolk out of the white out. White and yolk separated, what I'm saying, okay? Just like that. All right, so right now we just have the yolk in his head. We're going to take the white, I'm going to put it over here on the mixer, and we're going to make a real quick meringue. Just let that foam up a little bit. Hopefully that won't be too distracting in the background, that noise. Hey, Alan, how you doing? Nice to see you. Glad to see you found us. I'm from the state of confusion. Yes, we knew that. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Alan, our loyal viewer here, always contributes and always has good ideas along the way. Got Scotty Snotty going again, or Scotty Snotty. All right, so we have all our dry ingredients. So really what we want to do is I'm going to put our egg yolk in there, like so. We're going to add our 3/4 cup of lukewarm water, like that. We're going to use a 1/4 cup of beer, right in there like that. And that's really all you need, other than the egg white, which is actually working really good over there behind me. All right. So the thing about this recipe is the batter is really kind of crunchy and light. I mean, you can make your bread your onion rings with bread crumbs, which is another great option if you'd like. But this is more of a batter type onion ring, which is really, really good. And if you want to do like the onion straws, you know, the really thin ones, you can do that as well. Picking this up to overdrive right now. Overdrive on the egg whites, if you didn't already know that. All right? And that's really all there is to this. This is pretty much mixed. So the only thing left to do in this is we're going to fold the egg whites into this batter. Doesn't taste like much right now, just a batter. All right? And basically, like I said, all this is flour, baking powder, salt, and then the egg yolk, and then beer and water. All there is. That's all you really need. So really the only other thing that's really important to this is our deep fryer. All right. Now normally I don't like turning my deep fryer on here in the house, because I got to be honest with you, the house smells like oil for about a day. And I don't like that. So normally what I will do is I will fry all my stuff out in the garage or outside. It took me a while to figure that one out, but that's what I do now. If you don't have a deep fryer, which I'm assuming a lot of people don't, you can use, like I said, you can use a Dutch oven, which is a cast iron. Actually, I have one here because I was making some chicken wings last night. This is what they call a Dutch oven, all right? It's cast iron. It holds the heat really well. Or a pan. The main thing is you know, with a deep fryer, you can kind of set the temp if you got the top of the line one. So I have this set for about 375 right now. All right, but you always have to remember, whenever you're deep frying something, whenever you put something into this, whether it's the onion rings or chicken or whatever you're making, as soon as you put any of the food in there, it's going to kind of lower the temp. So you want to make sure that your temp is always up to right around what it's supposed to be, because if not, you start putting your food into a a fryer or some oil that's not up to temp. It's just going to lay there. It's just going to soak up the grease, which you don't want. I mean, because let's be honest, fried food is not at the top of the healthy food list, okay? But it's still good to eat. So those are a couple of things. Make sure the fryer stays at right around what it's supposed to be, which in this case is 375. All right. So that's almost ready to go. What we're going to do is we're going to add that into the batter, which we already have, and then we're just going to fry these bad boys up. All right. So let's see where we're at here. Okay, it's pretty good actually. I'll tell you, if you don't have one of these KitchenAid mixers, I would definitely invest in one of those, because you know what? Even if all you do is make meringue your whole life, it's well worth it. All right. So as you can see, I got a whole big container of meringue here, which is really only 1 egg. So let's move the fire off here so you can kind of see. But all we're really going to do is we're going to take the batter that we already have here, and we're going to take this meringue. We're going to fold it in. This really adds a lot of air, and this is the secret to making these onion rings so crunchy, is adding this egg white, and kind of getting a little bit of aeration into the batter itself. If you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, any sort of a mixer high-end like that, just use the handheld. Handhelds will work well. All we're trying to do is just kind of get that egg white beat into a kind of a foamy, frothy kind of a thing. All right, so there you go. That's all we're really looking for right there. Now the hard part is over. So really all we need to do at this point, we need to dip the onion rings in the batter and then put them in the oil, let them cook for just a couple minutes is really all we're going to need, as you will see, and the process will be over. All right, so let's get rid of this. Let's make a little room. Let's let the party begin. All right, so I'm going to set this off to the side. And really all we need to do at this point is we're going to put a couple of these onion rings in here. I'm going to grab just a handful right here, right, as you can see. And I'm going to, let's put those in the batter right here so you guys can see everything I'm doing. I'm going to take these, just going to throw them right in there. Boom. That's all you got to do, huh? It's easy. Now, yeah, I understand that going to the store and buying some onion rings already breaded and throwing them in the oven is easier, okay? I'm not going to argue that point. But I will argue the point that it's not near as much fun as what I'm doing right here, right now. Okay, so anyway, my fryer's up to about 375, somewhere between 375 400 degrees, all right? And let's see. Really, the only other thing I need is a pair of tongs, if you have those. Makes my life so much easier. And just make sure that these are coated really, really well. All right. And make sure, don't grab the whole handful here and just throw them in all at once. I like doing them individually because each onion ring is special in its own little right. All right. So putting that in there, shake off all the excess, throw it in the oil. Like that, and they're frying up right away. They're frying up. All right. And if you don't shake them, obviously, if you shake them off a lot, you're going to have less batter. But I don't know if you can see what's going on here in the fryer itself, but there's a party, right? That's all you have to do. Put them right in there like that. What could be much more fun than this? All right. And these don't take long, obviously, depending on how thick you did slice your onions. But make sure you at least get a little bit of batter on them. A little bit of batter is better. A little bit of batter is better is a big one. I don't have much room in here anymore, so I'm going to put this off to the side so you guys can kind of see what's going on here. These are best drained on like a brown paper bag if you have one of those, or a... if you want to drain them just on some sort of a rack, like I have here, that's okay too. Try to stay away from paper towels if possible, because that just kind of absorbs everything, and they just kind of like lay in their own grease. But you can see, look at that. Woo! It's happening. But like I said, the main thing is right now is to make sure that that fryer oil stays at right around 375, if at all possible. And some of these will lose a little bit of their batter along the way. But for the most part, it's all good. And you really only have to be flipped like one time, and you're good to go. All right, so we'll do a couple batches here. But here's one, just so you can kind of see. It's almost done. There's actually two together. They're actually mating. These are mating. They're done. And then you have the ones here that the batter kind of spills off a little bit, which is not good, okay? But that's okay. It still tastes good. It's a fried onion. What more do you really need? All right. So let's go ahead and finish these up. And they don't take long. As long as your oil is right at temp, and these are battered like they're supposed to. And if you like them extra crunchy, extra crispy, extra dark, let them in a couple extra seconds, not minutes, you know, because they really only take about two to 3 minutes total. So don't walk away and do something and come back and go, why are my onion rings all brown? Okay. So, but these are about good. I'd say that's a good one right there. Okay, so we're going to put them off onto the tray right here. These right here. Well, if we have any more, we'll kind of throw those in there. Okay. These, and you know what? It smells good. Okay, taking them all out like that. So you guys can kind of see where we're at. Like I said, if you don't have a deep fryer, don't worry about it. Just get a pan. You want to have a little piece, at least about 1 inch of oil floating in there so these can cook, you know, and they have the option to flip them over. But there you can kind of see what we have right now. Let's see if there's any more in here. There might be one or two. Throw them in there. And it's always good too to make sure that your oil is up to temp before you just start throwing onions in. Like this one here, seems like it's a little bit, probably not up to the 375 like we originally were. Only because we had things in there. I would invest in a thermometer, a digital fryer / candy thermometer. They can handle the heat. I wouldn't use like one of the ones used to check your steaks or your pork or your chicken on the grill, because they're kind of limited as far as how high they can go as far as heat goes. But they do make a candy and a deep fryer thermometer, because their temps are a little bit higher on the temperature scale. Invest in one of those, $20 on Amazon. I just ordered one because I realized that one I had does no longer work, so I got one of those coming. So anyway, let's put this off to the side here. And I would say, generally speaking, this has been a success. So what do you use? What do you have with the onion rings? Well, what I like to have, and you can see, look at this tray. That's the oil. I don't know if you can see that or not. But there has been some oil from the fryer that has actually come off of these. A little bit of salt. Salt and ketchup is all I need. Now, some people go crazy with the dipping sauces. If that's your thing, go ahead. To me, salt and ketchup does it. That's all I really need. So what else we got here? So these are almost done here. So we'll add these to the mix. Wash off my tongs because that's so important. Okay. And let's go ahead and put these, kind of display them, kind of present them as if you were at the fair. And if you don't own one of these, I think everyone should have at least a couple red baskets to put things in, like onion rings, hamburgers, French fries, all that crappy stuff that you see at the fair needs to go in a plastic little boat like this, all right? And if that's not bad enough, get one of these little paper sheets that goes in there just like that. Let's get a little bit of ketchup going here because that's what we love, right? We love ketchup with onion rings and French fries. Or onion rings, ketchup and onion rings. Put that right in there like that because I'm going to be eating all these myself. I can tell you that right now. These are looking good. Now, as I'm looking at my fryer, and I can tell you because you probably can't see it, but when you dip the There is little snippets of the batter in here. In fact, I can pull some of those off so you can kind of see. These are floating in your oil. All right, let me show you what that looks like. As you can see that? All right, these little things, they're good to eat, but what you need to do is you need to, after you're done with your oil, let it cool a little bit, and then strain it through just a kind of a mesh strainer and get all those particles out. Okay, the best you can. Try to keep that oil as clear as possible, because that's really what breaks down your fryer oil, and it doesn't last as long if you keep that in there. So as long as you strain your oil after every time you use it, you may be able to use this probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 times depending on what kind of oil you use. I use just either vegetable oil, a peanut oil. Sometimes I'll use shortening in here. But as long as you strain it and get all those little particles, breadcrumbs out or anything like that, it should last you at least 3 or 4 times, maybe even 5 if you're lucky. So let's go ahead and put these onion rings in here like that, because it's all about the presentation. And I'm all about that. And they're still crunchy, okay? These have been out of the oil for quite some time now, but they are still relatively crunchy. All right, so let's put those off to the side here and get these other bad boys out of there. All right, and they're done like that, as you can see. Throw them on the sheet here, on the tray, let them drain. All right, so you can see we made, this is like a half of an onion. We have half of an onion going here, and this is probably enough for 1 or 2 people. Do a little bit of salt again, because that's what you need. All right, salt. Add that to the basket of onion rings, like this. Look at that. If you go to the fair or some restaurant and you order a side of onion rings, and they bring this to your table, probably charge you about $8 or $10 for something like that. All right. The major cost of this is the onions, I think, and they're relatively cheap. So let me take a photo of this, because that's what I like to do here. Don't want to waste a great opportunity like this. There they are in all its glory. Homemade onion rings. Who doesn't love those? So you really don't know how good this is. Yeah, I know a Yingling would be perfect for this, right, Alan? Funny you mentioned my brother-in-law just sent me a Christmas gift. It was a Yingling t-shirt, something I do not have. I have a lot of stuff Yingling, but not a Yingling t-shirt. Anyway, ketchup, onion ring. Wow. Crunchy and tender. All right? These are good. I can't eat all these because last night I chowed down on a plate of buffalo wings that were actually deep fried. So I had my intake of grease for at least a week or 2. But these are good. Anyway, that's all I got. This is a success. Hopefully you joined us today and were watching just on the sidelines. If not, if you're watching this on the rebroadcast, hope you enjoy it. It's very simple to do. So buy some onions, a little bit of beer, and go for it, okay? Because it's going to be a fun time for the whole family. That I can guarantee. So anyway, no more questions, no more answers. That's all I got. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Real Food Live, and be sure to subscribe and like this channel and this video every chance you get. Subscribers are important, and I will keep producing great shows as long as I have the people watching, which we are climbing, baby. We'll see you soon. Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping by our YouTube channel. If you could be so kind as to just hit that like button and also the subscribe button. And then, if it's not too much to ask, hit that little bell so you know when we have new content coming your way. You'll thank yourself in the morning, I promise.